Hello, everybody. Hope everyone's doing good today. Just started a new mobile game, and I figured what better way to start off than to do a bunch of summons. So let's jump in here. We got 362 summon stars, so that means 36 10 draws. I'll be posting this up so all of you can see it. We're off to a pretty good start here so far. We do got some legendary champions here up top that we've been kind of building up over time. We got a lot of fodder here that we're going to be using to eventually evolve people. So if you continue to watch my channel, you'll see a lot of different steps here. You can clearly ascend this person. I'll do some tutorial videos and stuff of that nature. But you see when we ascend here, this is one of the best healers in the game. The ability of all team members recover 10% health. The target has a positive effect. So that's going to be a permanent trait that she's going to get now, which is great. We'll go over this a little bit more details, but just to get some traction on the channel, we're going to do a quick summon video. So this might be a little bit long, but I'll do some quick overview of some champions as they get summoned here. We'll mostly only be looking for legendaries at this point, obviously, because we have a lot of summons. But if there are any unique elite champions, we'll point them out. She's a decent support hero, definitely worth building. She's one of the rare light heroes, so if you need somebody that's in that vein, great. And Edicris is actually very underrated, very powerful attack along with a refresh on their second skill. Definitely worth building. So that was a pretty good elite bundle. I'll build those guys up eventually. For those of you who don't know, when you get a blue light exclusively, you're only going to get these rare, so you might as well just skip it. If it does do this 2-sequence yellow, you see 1, 2, 1, 2, this is going to give you an elite hero. There's going to be no legendary heroes in here. Now, Lightwing Zachary is brand new. I haven't really got a chance to check him out build because I built out my characters pretty quick. But he is a light hero. Light heroes are very rare in this game, so he might be worth building in the long run, but we'll have to check him out. We got another pull here. We got another elite. So no legendaries going so far, but that's okay. Urzag, he's alright, but he's not going to outclass your legendary damage dealers for the most part. But if elite's all you got, Urzag is a pretty decent damage dealer choice. We have another elite here, Vance. I haven't pulled him yet, so that's a new guy. You see we get a different achievements for collecting those people. Like I said, I don't really use any elite heroes, minus a few of them late game when they have very specific niche units. And finally, a legendary pull. So let's see who we got. We got Sierra. She's a very good debuffer. I remember in the beta when we played her, but we can check her out real quick. It does look like they did some reworks on her, so she does have a little bit of different skills. Increased damage taken is a really good skill on a basic, because you can kind of spam that across the board and have them take a lot of damage. Vengeful Spirit, 5% attack, so she can get up to a 30% additional attack, which is great. Under 50% health, deals 70% damage to all enemies, can only be used, triggered once every 3 rounds. So this is when their health is under 50%, deal an additional 70% damage to all characters. That's very, very good. And expands all Vengeful Rage and deals 180 damage to an enemy. This attack deals 10% bonus damage per Vengeful Spirit. And keep in mind that you get one of those upon the defeat of an enemy. So you can get 180. If you kill one, it's 190. Kill two, it's 200. I would say because this is a single target attack, she is going to nuke the single targets, but I don't know if she's going to be very viable. The meta seems to be AoE attacks. You want to kind of burst down the team because there is that key reviver and a lot of decent healers in the game. But somebody like that can just nuke somebody would be very good. Gajahar is new since the beta when I played, but he looks like he would work great in a poison team. There are some very good legendary poisoners that might do very good with. Magnar is not very good. I highly recommend using him as food once you get through your rare food, especially if you're not doing the crazy amount of summons that I'm doing. So we got another elite hero here. She is very good on a speed team. Windstrix, I see her a lot in the arena because of her speed boost. definitely check out her skills, see if that's something, that strategy you want to go with in the arena. Because I have seen it to be pretty viable, even in towards a little bit more of a late game. I think most of the betas ran about a month or two, so she was still pretty viable at those later ends, because she does kind of give you some perks as far as speed. Pokemons, exactly like Urzog, you're going to get a lot of attack damage. Just can't really keep up with your legendary damage dealers. If that's all you got, you do get a lot of copies of him, so it'd be really easy to max him out, which would be really beneficial. Virgil has an AoE silence, which is ridiculous. He could be very viable in the arena. For that reason, that you got to make him faster than everybody else. Basically, what I seen in the beta was Windstreaks with a Virgil, trying to get them as fast as possible, trying to get them to go first, trying to silence your team. There's also that legendary bear, I forget what his name is, but he's a light bear and he has AoE invincible. That's very good as well. Desmond has Plague. I don't like that they changed his Plague from a poison. It makes him a little less viable, but he is still a pretty decent unit in boss teams, but he's a little lackluster. So I wouldn't really recommend building him. All of these characters have a lot of perks to them, but they're not really great long-term and viable. I'm sorry, I'm texting. My girlfriend's wonderful, so ignore the texts that are coming in. We don't seem to be pulling a ton of legendaries. So far we have the 2. Like I said, we started with 36 pulls. Here comes another one. Hey, speaking of that, so in 16 pulls, we're going to have 3 legendaries, which is pretty good. Evra is one of my favorite legendaries. If we check her out, she has some fantastic skills. This ultimatum destroys pretty much the whole team, granting attack up to her. It hits twice. It hits very hard. It is a great, great skill. Foil also hits very hard, except it's a single target. If you have attack up, the bonus attack is very, very nice. It's on a low cooldown once you get it powered up at 3. And green is one of the easier dungeons, so it's pretty easy to get the abilities tiered down on this. You see, this can hit for 200 to 140 damage. It's absolutely ridiculous. Also, it's on a 5-tour cooldown, so it's viable to do it twice in most story modes, which is great. She has this basic attack, which you see when it's powered up, does 95 damage, which is absurd, plus bleeding chance, which is great. She also has that extra attack. That extra gunfire attack is just crazy. She also has this thing where she's building up rage. You see, once she inflicts rage, she does that artillery damage. This skill, basically again, which is ridiculous. It also applies defense down for 2 rounds. She's just great. Absolutely highly recommend building Evra if you pull one. She's elite. She is one of my favorite people in the whole game right now. So highly, highly recommend. We're gonna get some more elites here. Myla, again, another damage dealer. She's decent. You see, we pulled 2 of her back to back. Just long term, you don't really want to invest that much into most epics. There's a few here and there, but I would always focus on your legendary. For the most part, your legendary characters are going to outperform your epics all day long. Their stats are better, their skills are better, they have more usability, versatility, things of that nature. Let's see here. Jacob, I haven't really even built him. His skills never really appealed to me. I don't really care for the mechanics of him personally. I could probably max out Lightwing Zachary. Maybe we just splurge and I make a video on some of the new characters that are out there. Maybe he'll be one of them. I don't know. I'm interested to see what we can kind of do with some of the new characters, because I messed around with the beta with a lot of epics because I knew it was going to reset, so why not? Hey, another legendary, guys. I got Scarlet. I really needed her. She's new, so that's great. Valeria. Valeria is worth building for sure. She has a very epic AoE attack, um, but it does cost her 20% of her health. Now, the nice thing is, though, this is going to do 180 damage when it's capped out. It's on a 4-turn cooldown, so you can do it all the time, pretty much, which is great. Her second skill, though, is 100% of her damage. She does recover 35% of the damage dealt. You want her hitting as hard as possible. The one nice thing is she does get some utility. She does get defense down for 2 turns on her basic, which is great. And then, obviously, anytime there's a death of an enemy, she's going to reduce the cooldown, which literally you could spam this skill until she dies. If you can get some type of lifesteal or a heavy healer or invincibility team on her, she's a nuke. But she is kind of light. She's kind of fluffy. I don't mean fluffy. She's fragile. She's kind of a glass cannon, especially with that kind of chipping away at her health. Um, that kind of decreases her long-term viability because a lot of times you're nuking the levels to get through them because things just hit so hard. So you really, really want to focus on a heavy, quick death team with her, or else she's useless because she kills herself. Um, you see, we're pulling a lot of epics, which is good. If I was, a general person, I wouldn't probably be pretty mad about these, but we're just kind of looking for legendaries. Let's see who we got. Urzog, again, a nuke. If that's all you got, just go ahead and build the Urzog. Don't waste a ton of resources on him as far as leveling up his skills and stuff, because over time you're gonna get enough resources to pull legendaries, but really focus in on just kind of getting a usable team to push you further into the story so you can get those resources. Maybe you only have to take him to 5-star. That 6-star investment is very expensive, but then you could use him later as food for your legendaries, which is a great strategy. Again, Virgil with his AoE silence is ridiculous. Definitely one of those rare build 'em epics if you pull them. Hey, another legendary. Gangelo. I don't know if that's how you actually pronounce his name, but Gangelo is decent. So is Thomas, actually, for being an epic. Gangelo really focuses on poison. Earlier when I said there was legendaries that really do a lot of poison damage, this was the main guy I was talking about. So he deals 80% damage to all enemies. He applies 2 poisons. If the enemy is affected by poison, applies no positive effects. So if he has a poison on him, they can't get any positive effects for 2 turns. This really hurts your invincibility teams, your heavy buff teams. This guy with the right combination can be a killer. 4-turn cooldown when you see you get it boosted up, 100% damage, but he's going to kill you quick with a poison. That's going to go in great concert with somebody that's going to explode those poisons, cause them to react right away, disappear. If you got somebody else that has another lot of poison and you could just keep stacking them and stacking them and stacking them, they're great for boss killers, especially boss killers that have turn hits. You'll see that, they have a shield for 4 turns or a shield for 5 turns. Poisons are absolutely wonderful for that. This is going to remove all positive effects from an enemy and deals 80%, then heals this character based on the number of poisons. So basically, he's going to run as your tank in that particular poison team, because what he's going to do is heal on the poisons and soak up a lot of that damage while keeping the buffs kind of off of him. He's a utility guy. Don't expect huge burst damage from him, but he is fast and he has a lot of health. So with that poisons kind of ticking away, he's kind of meant to survive and outlast the team. You see here, he deals 60% damage to an enemy and he applies a poison on his basic. So you're getting poison, 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 poison all day long with this guy. And you can see all enemies take 50% more damage from poison. So that makes your poisons hit harder and harder. When you do ascend them, it's 100% more damage. You can get a ton of damage in utility, boss killing team from poison. with that guy in your team. Now you do have to draw him, which does make the poison team a little bit harder, a little bit less viable. But once you got it in place, you can just melt bosses. It works out really great. Um, it's something I tested pretty heavily, and it outperforms a lot of the damage teams. The damage teams have a lot of AoE aspects that go into them, where the poison just ticks away at their health. It's weak though, unless you have him, because let's face it, poison doesn't hit very hard. So you need that extra 100% boost to double the damage, and then stuff gets pretty nutty. It's pretty fantastic. Highly recommend. Um, there's Windstrikes again. Like I said, she's got some arena viability. Beyond that, though, she's not very useful. But if you're building a team right off the jump, epics only, build her. She's going to have a niche for quite a bit of while. You can kind of drag her out and use her in the arena. And then if she's viable in the story for, till chapter 10 easy, because that's just maxed out characters, why not use her for that? Ricard has one interesting skill that's pretty fantastic. I want to show you this. So, deals total true damage equal to 60% of this character's max health to all enemies. This skill is ridiculous. Okay, just this skill alone is absurd. You can max out his health to an absurd, insane, ridiculous level and deal true damage, which means it actually does the entirety of the amount in damage. So give him the hammer is just the most ridiculous broken skill probably in the game, because it's an AoE, true damage, insane numbers. That's very niche. That's pretty much all he's good for. He's good for one big, huge attack, but the attack is nasty. So build him. He's one of those other ones. Build him if you don't have another nuke that's consistent, more consistent, better, because that attack is stupid. You see, we're down to our last 10 summons here. So we'll see what we got. Maybe I'll get some bonus ones for you. We'll see what we got here. We're gonna pull until we get another legendary. How about that? I'll put some bonus ones on here for you guys. I said this is my introductory video. I'll have a lot more content coming out. So I hope you guys stop in often, because I would love to show you what we got going on over here. You see, I still got a ton of tokens left. I played like every beta, and so it helped out a bunch. You see, we got 10 more summons. I know we're going to get a legendary in that, just based on the mechanics. The draw conversions, rates, and stuff are pretty good in this game. Maria Shadowblood is an epic I would recommend building. She is very strong. Not as good as like your legendaries, but again, one of the top tier epics. Maybe one of these days I'll do a tier list or something, so I can kind of show you what I'm talking about. But just keep the people that I specifically point out in terms of the epics are going to be the ones that you kind of want to focus on. Any of the other ones are kind of not worth it. Here's a legendary. Let's see what we got. A Desmond. Again, I'm not that high on Desmond. Full disclosure. I think he's underwhelming. I forgot to actually click on his skills so we could look at him the past couple of times, because I'm just so disgusted with him in general. But he used to be pretty epic, because you would put him on that poison team, and that poison team would be disgusting, because he unleashes some true hell. But now that they switched it to a different kind of platform, it doesn't function the same, so it doesn't multiply, it doesn't tick. So just disappointed. Maybe we could talk to the developers and get them to switch that back, because he used to be pretty epic on that poison team. Let's see, maybe we can get one more. I said we were going to stop at the legendary, but hey, we got 10 pulls, so why not? Celestial Cain. That guy is a beast. I will show you why. Let's jump in here real quick. This is probably the #1 strategy right now in Arena. And it's because of this skill right here. So, deals 80% damage to all enemies and grants invincible to all members of the team for 1 turn. Now you want him to be faster than the other team but last in your team so that invincible runs and your whole team is invincible for the whole entire team's turn. The opponent does no damage. They can't be affected by anything. They're ridiculous. The skill is ridiculous. It used to be more than 1 turn. They actually nerfed it because this guy was so broken. So High Ground is a great skill. Celestial Cane is great. You see, you can get it on a 4-turn cooldown, which makes him kind of viable through the story. If you're really struggling in campaign, something like this might really bring out your viability with the Invincibles. He has a taunt as well, so he can take kind of damage off those damage dealers. With your damage dealers kind of be kind of fluffy, fragile. I keep saying fluffy. It can make him a lot more viable. Because you can protect him with the Invincible as well as the Taunt, which gives you a lot of ability to lay down some serious damage. Another Gangello. They really want me to bring back my Poison team. Ooh, 2 legendaries on the stream. That is absolutely fantastic. Cyrus, nasty. Still in my main team. Absolutely awesome. Very, very fast. Hits very, very hard. And the thing that makes them so epic is when this ascension trait is active, every turn, this character's ability attacks 1 extra target at the end of the turn. So you attack, you hit 1 person. You attack the second time, you hit at least 2, maybe 3. You'll see why that's relevant here in a second, but this skill is insane. Helps amp up the damage a bunch. So grants attack up for 2 turns. So he just gets attack up, 30% additional attack, and then deals 140 damage to an enemy. So he's really dealing 170 starting base damage. If this hits another person, it pretty much wipes out the other person too. It's absolutely a nuke. With it fully leveled up, it does 200 damage on a 4-turn cooldown. Sometimes can hit 2 or 3 people. Okay, this skill is disgusting. Absolutely nuts. 4-turn cooldown. Love that skill. The second skill, though, is why he is one of the most epic characters. And that is because he gets ability immunity. Which means that he cannot take any negative effects, including damage, 4 stacks of them. 4 stacks! That means 4 different people have to attack him. 4 different multi-combo hits have to hit him. They have to remove that debuff. They have to remove the buff. It makes him pretty much invincible if you use Chain Dance. Now, the nice thing with Chain Dance is for every enemy hit, you get ability or immunity for 4 turns. So keep in mind that his first skill is going to encourage you to hit more than 1 person. The skill already can hit up to 3 people. It can sometimes hit 4 with that trigger. It is absolutely insane. And it deals an insane amount of damage too at 150. This guy is a nuker. Definitely worth making him very fast and hit very, very, very hard. On his basic, he has Defense Pierce added. So you use a basic, you get Defense Pierce. You go back here, you do 200 damage with no defense. No defense, Defense Pierce. This skill is stupid. He is very, very strong. Highly recommend, if you pull Cirrus, build him. He is stupid. Stupid. He is very, very, very awesome. Absolutely highly recommend getting him. We're getting to the end here, but let's see. We just pulled 2 legendaries. I very much doubt they're going to give me another one. But we'll go low for the crew. A Celestial Cane, like I said. Very great with that invincibility. He's currently the number 1 person in Arena to build up. Alright, so now I'm going to go back, and I'm going to show you Desmond. We'll buy that. We'll buy those, because epic crystals are very hard to get. But let's scroll down, and I will show you what I mean with Desmond here. So, here we go. Applies Plague. to the enemy at the start of their turn with a 100% chance of spreading plague to another random enemy. Plague drains health at the start of the turn. So what this basically used to be was plague that emitted poison every turn and gave health to him based on the amount of poison, which made him absolutely ridiculous. So plague deals damage based on the current health at the start of the turn. So again, it's going to do a bunch of damage initially on a boss. He still might be viable on a poison team, but it just doesn't hit the same because it doesn't have that. I don't know the word. He doesn't have that ability to link in with these other poison guys, which really I think hurt his viability. It might make him more viable with other people, but I just don't see how you make this mechanic work long term at all. So this applies plague to all enemies and then deals 60% damage to each. Damage scales with the number of stacks of plague on the target. So he's basically doing what the poison people do by himself, but you could see how that would be a lot better mechanic if he was part of if somebody else had plague, right? If another character had plague, they could work with them. They could be teammates, plaguing people, bouncing off each other, being a good combination team. With him by himself, though, it really, I think, hurts his viability. So this deals 60% damage to an enemy and heals this character for 5% HP. So that's kind of what they did instead of his, poison thing. They just gave him 5% health. If the enemy character removes plague, there is a 50% chance to apply stun. So this makes him more viable in like story mode and stuff. And granted, you pull him, he's better than almost every epic you're gonna have. Build him, but he I think loses a little juice, with not having that be a poison. So with that said, guys, hopefully you love the video. I will be making more content here soon, so definitely check back in. Hopefully you enjoyed the Summon Fest, and take care, guys.